Yeah, so that's the news. Ezra Miller, he's a piece of shit. Oh, that's a little rough.
Is it though? Is it?
Pizza time. Pizza time. Pizza time.
You like pizza time?
Pizza time.
Ed, how are you, my friend?
Hi, I'm good, man.
Living?
I was a little daunted by the task that was at hand today, which you'll get into. You've asked a pretty tall order, which was a top list, which we'll get into in a second. But it was hard. I'm sweating still underneath, and
oh boy,
we'll see how it goes.
By the way, speaking of daunting tasks, anybody watching on YouTube, I apologize for the glare in your face. Currently, you'll notice that my wonderful picture is gone.
Look at that.
The Shelby, whatever the hell it was, GT260. I don't know what the fuck it was. But it's gone. It's gone. Yes, the picture has been sold. It wasn't my picture. It was just chilling here. Fun fact: I didn't know there was a door behind me. So super safe that picture was there. Had no clue that was there. I definitely didn't know there was a window behind me. That's for damn sure.
When Alex came on in the green room today, I thought for straight up that you were in a different place. Like I was like,
moved or something.
Yeah, they had moved completely because I had no clue that freaking thing was hiding those two elements. That's insane.
Yes, but don't worry, guys. We're gonna work out something next week. It's gonna look different. We're gonna work something out. It's gonna look great. But yeah, this week you get a glare. I'm not wet.
on the video podcast. Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, true.
For those who can't see what we're talking about,
let's be honest, more people listen to us than actually watch us. So
that's true. Yeah, of course. But we are spending time to explain something to them that they can't see.
Maybe go watch on YouTube if you want. Yeah. You don't have to. Doesn't matter.
Some decoration.
Listening, don't worry. Anyway,
is in order.
So today on the show, we've got some really fun things. We are going to do our top five favorite movies of all time. This is a completely subjective list, but we'll get into that when we get there. But first, we're going to go into just a tiny bit of news. There wasn't too much coming out this week. Ed got the chance to see Thor Love and Thunder. He saw it about a week early. Saw it on Wednesday. So Ed, you are allowed to talk about their first reactions. So let's go into it, man. Give it.
All right. It is a first reactions. I cannot spend too much time on this, but I'll give you the little intro to what I was able to see in my basically my first impressions of the film. So, I mean, the best thing I can say, I guess, about the film is that it's a Taika Waititi film. And if that's what you're looking for, and that's what you loved about Ragnarok, it doubles down on everything Ragnarok, particularly the sort of silliness, the comedy, super doubles down on that. So if that's the part of Ragnarok you really enjoyed, you are going to have a pretty good time. I had a pretty good time considering, if you look at this as a purely entertainment film, then it brings it, man. I mean, it's literally a joke a minute, particularly in the first 30 or minutes to an hour. It's just jokes almost to a fault, to be honest. Again, for me, we've discussed this before. Like, we both have a problem sort of with the indulgence that some directors can take when they amplify their sting on a movie. I think, obviously Taika is one of those directors, and this movie definitely leans in more into that. And so again, it's apples and oranges at that point. It's like, if you like that stuff, it's great. If you don't, you might have some moments of wince and maybe cringe a little bit because it's just not for you. But for me, there are enough moments that I particularly laughed at that I thought were enjoyable, and it brought the entertainment. That being said, I don't believe the film is as good as Ragnarok, particularly on a narrative level. Again, they really take the comedy as the front point and center thing in this film versus a sort of stronger script, which maybe is like the style that they're going for now. It's like the Thor films in the MCU as a stylistic choice. So maybe that's how we're supposed to just see these films now. And that's fine. I think it has its place. But as people who love cinema in general, I think you and I would prefer a good story, obviously, where they actually maybe spent some time to iron out the wrinkles. There are definitely some wrinkles in this film. Okay. And overall, I think the performances are top notch. They're always great. Natalie Portman does a phenomenal job. I think she's wonderful. And my favorite part, just to get a little bit into it, was easily Zeus. And I told you this in my earlier review. Zeus, Russell Crowe as Zeus is great. It's easily the best part of the film. It was having me dying. Just seeing what they do and what Russell does with that character is, it's so good. So that was a gift that kept on giving in the film. Here's one thing I will say that's a little controversial. It's my last thing before I get too on about this film. If there was a part that I felt could have been stronger and should have been stronger, it was Christian Bale's gore. Not from a performance standpoint, because Christian Bale performing in any movie is gold. It's more so on again, from a narrative and written standpoint. I felt like they could have definitely done more with that character. Gore really could have used a lot more. Mm-hmm. He isn't the focus of the movie by any means. It's very much a Thor movie, even more so than Jane. If people think that Jane was gonna come in and be, the star of the show and try to steal it from Chris Hemsworth, that's not the case here, which is, I think, a good thing. This should be Chris's movie, and it is, which is good. But again, when you in a world where you kind of want the villains to sort of really come up to par with your hero, this is not one of those movies, unfortunately. His performance is good and amazing, but they sidelined it a little bit in favor of other things, which that was a pretty big bummer in my opinion. But it's fine. Here's the other thing I will say about this film. And other outlets have said this now too, which makes me feel a lot better. But you know how our favorite Star Trek, not our favorite, but Star Trek Beyond felt like a sort of, instead of a a straight up sequel or movie, it felt like a sort of episode of Star Trek, a really, really good episode of Star Trek. This is similar, where it really does feel kind of like the Thor. If there was a Thor show, this was an episode of that. However, it wasn't it was a good episode of the Thor show, but it wasn't a great movie in that sense. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. It has that feel to it where it's it's more like a side mission or a mission, but it doesn't hit like an MCU movie does in that respect.
Interesting. So, very, very interesting. So I have two questions. One, scale of 1 to 5. What are you giving it, since this is your review?
Probably like a solid 3.
Okay,
like a 3.
So just
I think it's definitely enjoyable as long as you go into it knowing it's more Ragnarok. Then I think you can enjoy it.
Okay,
but it definitely has some flaws in the sense that we've seen better stories out of the MCU.
Out of the theater reaction, where does this rank among the MCU Phase 4?
Phase 4 specifically?
Yeah. Obviously, with No Way Home being the top of the top, Eternals being up there for you as well.
Yeah.
Where does this go?
Well, it's definitely, I would say I actually liked it better than Multiverse of Madness. So that's actually a good thing. Because I think it's
I think that there's that element of that hype isn't there. That overhypeness isn't there, kind of ruining that film for you. So
correct.
I agree. So that's not too surprising to me.
On a hype level, yes. It obviously, I think it was closer to what it initially put front as a movie. So I'm okay, I can't be too disappointed. Unlike Multiverse of Madness, which we thought was going to be this huge thing and it ended up not being that. Yeah. This is much closer to something that they promised. So that's why I think it's better. And I was able to enjoy it more. It didn't disappoint necessarily because it's exactly what I think most of us think it's going to be, which is good. But in ranking, I would put it probably
above Shang-Chi or below?
No. Well, I think Shang-Chi is top for me overall. As a general film, I think Shang-Chi was the most interesting out of Phase 4. So I put that at top.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I put No Way Home, Eternals, Black Widow's at the bottom. And then probably Thor 4, Thor Love and Thunder, and then Multiverse of Madness.
Okay,
that's probably. Did I miss one? I don't think I did.
In the middle. No, you didn't miss one. You missed TV shows, but we're not doing that.
Yeah, I wouldn't say, considering we liked Eternals, I can't say it's in the top tier of Phase 4, but for those who obviously hated Eternals, then it's probably closer to the upper tier for you, probably third place for most people. But my top three are still those movies, and so it at least beats Multiverse of Madness and Black Widow. So it's enjoyable. When you watch it, I figure you should be able to enjoy it for what it is. I think we'll have a similar reaction, but we'll see. Okay. You let me know.
Obviously we'll talk about it next week. We'll go full spoilers, full actual review into it. But
we shall.
Yeah, I mean, I loved Thor Ragnarok. It's like one of my favorite MCU films. So if it's more of that, I think great. But if it's as Ed said, if it's too self-indulgent, you got to be careful. It's a fine line to tread.
I think you and I, we really put story forward. So I don't think you will love the story, and which is where I really feel like, that's where you'll have the most problems. Because if we see with Ragnarok, at least that film had so many tentpole moments. You know, like you had Hulk and you knew they were going to fight. Jeff Goldblum was amazing. You had Loki in there. You had and Hela was awesome. You had all these like little tent poles that you knew you were going to look forward to, and like they were going to be big moments, and they ended up paying off. It doesn't have that epicness that Ragnarok has. Again, it kind of goes down a little bit because it feels more like a Saturday episode of Thor, which I don't know. I don't know how it plays for some people. I wish it kind of went further. But so we'll see.
Problem there.
But overall, the reception for the film, I think, will be definitely positive. It will be definitely positive. I don't know if it will make $1 billion, but it'll be good. It'll be another solid MCU entry, I think, for everybody.
Of course, how could we forget our weekly coverage? We have a weekly coverage of Ezra Miller because he's a terrible fucking person, it turns out.
So there's even this guy.
More allegations that have come out against him in the last week and a half. It's nonstop. He's been accused. This is coming from Europe this time. He's accused. People are accusing him in Germany and Iceland. The woman that he put in a chokehold is now speaking out against him. So it is a very bad situation that continues to just get worse and worse and worse as time goes along. But there's that piece of news to follow up with this piece of news. WB's come out and said, we're committed to The Flash. We're committed to releasing this film. So kudos to Ed. He called it. I said, are you going to reshoot this film? He said, no.
No way.
So look, you want them to do something about it, but at the end of the day, we're talking about $225 million. And to reshoot would probably be another $200 million, maybe more, because you're going to have to reassemble the entire cast, redo so much. I don't really know what this does in the box office. I don't know if they put this out on HBO Max, but this is a bad situation.
That's a great point, actually, the HBO Max thing. That thought had come to my mind. I'm like, could they just put it on streaming? But you know what? No, they can't. They're not gonna. If they just did streaming for that movie, there's still no way they would make that money back at this point. I don't think.
As opposed to, like, Netflix is spending. They spent $225 on that Red Notice movie, right? Netflix spent $225 million on Red Notice. There's no toys or any sort of merchandising from Red Notice to recoup some of that money. The Flash is different. You can just say, "Hey, we'll bite this bullet. We'll see. Maybe our subscribers go up. Maybe they don't." But we're going to be able to put out a ton of Flash toys. We're going to get all this merchandising stuff. And again, the reason you got 3 fucking Cars movies made from Pixar is because each movie generated $10 billion in merchandise.
And toys alone.
Yeah. So like maybe.
Good point. That's a very good point. Mm-hmm. I still just don't think it would be enough solely on streaming. If they were to do solely streaming, I just don't think it would be enough. But I guess we'll see. You're right.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows?
And you're right. It is sad you mentioned, but when we were talking before the show, it is sad. It's sad for Michael Keaton. It's sad for Ben Affleck, which was going to be his final turn as Batman. It's sad for the young lady who's going to debut as Supergirl. I don't know her name. I'm sorry,
dude. It's sad for the entire production. This is what I hate talking about the story, because Ezra is this absolutely selfish prick, because he completely is tanking this film that they've worked on for years. A bunch of people worked on for years. He's not thinking about any of them. And he's clearly someone who's just going for attention. This is why he does need help. Okay. Like I don't think he's necessarily probably like a completely horrid human being, but at the same time, it's clear that he just wants attention. And it sucks that everyone on that production is in jeopardy of, not being either paid enough or whatever. That's it. It's this one dude, the freaking star of this goddamn movie, who should be showing some composure or gratefulness to be the star of one of the biggest superheroes of all time, and finally getting his own movie and getting to work with all these great people, and he doesn't give a fuck. Right. He doesn't give a rat's ass, and that's why this whole thing just sucks for everybody involved. I mean,
very good point.
It's really sad. Very
good point. Like, last on that point is it's incredibly fucked up, because even more, the studio was going to recast him. They were going to recast him going into this film and reboot the whole DCEU.
Now they will.
They gave him a chance to save it, and they took a chance on him, and here's how he's repaying them. So it's insane. Like, you hit it right on the head, man. He probably needs help, but he's being an incredibly selfish asshole hat.
Yeah. I mean, again, there's many ways to deal with problems.
Yeah.
But once you start not thinking about how your actions have repercussions for others, that's a humongous issue, So I really hope the dude has a coming to some epiphany, and maybe just maybe he can turn this whole thing around if he really goes full on. But he'd have to completely relinquish any he'd have to give in to like saying this is completely my fault, my bad.
Even then,
and that's it. Even then, it's a uphill battle. But if he wants to salvage his career at all, he would have to stop right immediately and return it. Otherwise, it's over. It's over. Like who could possibly want to work with Ezra Miller after this? No one. It's over for him. It's over.
Yeah. So it's messed up, but that's a little bit of news on Ezra Miller. Again, DC's sticking to it. Like, they don't really have a choice at this point.
Still getting the Flash movie, so I guess
we're still getting the Flash movie.
The audience wins
in June. I'm sure Comic-Con's later this month, June 23rd. Ed might be there.
No, I'm not going to Comic-Con.
Just kidding. He's not gone. He goes.
I wish it's been 3 years, but no. Unfortunately, I'm needed at the office. They're not sending me this year.
Yeah, so that's the news. Ezra Miller, he's a piece of shit. Oh, that's a little rough.
Is it though? Is it?
Ezra Miller, I hope you find your help you need, dude. But stop.
Get some help, brother. Prick. Get some help. That's all I'm gonna say.
But
you're being
a massive dick. Stop being a massive dick. So many people work so hard, even from post-production to pre-production to
the whole thing
during production. You've really kind of screwed over a lot of people. So I hope you understand that. Anyway, we are now going to move on to our main event for this episode. So we are going to get into our top 5. And this came from me saying a couple weeks ago when we were talking about Top Gun Maverick. Ed said, would you put Top Gun Maverick in your top 5? And look, there's 2 ways to look at top 5s. There's the objective way, which is like a totally objective. We can say this is a fantastic film from a writing, editing, filmmaking, everything kind of perspective, acting, directing, all that. And then there's this top 5, and this is what this top 5 is. We'll do our objective top 5 later because I think we can find more agreement in it. But our subjective top 5 is, hey, I love this movie because I love this movie no matter what, and I don't care what anyone says. You're never going to convince me that it's out of my top 5. So that's what this is. It's Alex and Ed's subjective top 5. And maybe at the end of it, we'll have a pizza time subjective top 5. But maybe there's some crossover. Who knows? Maybe not.
Gotta love lists.
Lists are great. Lists
galore.
Lists. You get a list and I get a list. Anyway.
Yeah.
So subjective top 5. all time, can be any genre, any type of movie, action, suspense, horror, whatever
Porno.
you want. We're gonna leave that for another episode.
Those aren't movies.
Yeah.
Okay,
we'll call it the best backdoor episodes. Anyway, that was a terrible show.
Wow. No, another Alex loves list right here. Gonna write that one down.
Anyway,
Christmas.
So I'm gonna let Ed kick it off with.
Okay, actually, wait. Okay, let me kick it off. But I actually have a question for you first.
Okay.
Just to set a little bit of some groundwork here.
Okay.
May I ask you, in terms of top 5, what is your criteria? Like, how did you place these films as your top 5 personally? Like, what are you looking at?
So some criteria that I've kind of shaped my top 5 and top 10 around, really. I think impact should be really high on the list. Not impact on like the world, impact on you. Like, did the movie leave an impact on you when you watched it? Like, when you left the film in the theater, did you go, oh man? So that's a big one. Impact. Another like criteria for me, it kind of goes into impact, was the gravity of which, like, where you hold the film. Like, and when I say that, I mean, like, when you're talking about a film and the film might have problems, but you still overlook those problems to say, man, no, it just holds so much gravity with me. It just holds so much. It's like, I know it's probably not perfect, but it's,
on some level,
it's just there for you.
Inescapable. Yeah.
Inescapable. You can't it never leaves your brain, is a great way to do it. Like, that movie's always on the back of my mind. Every time you see it come up on a streaming site, damn, I want to watch that movie. Every time you see it coming up on like cable, if you still have cable, you flip through channels, oh, stop, day's over, I'm putting the remote down, watching this movie. Stuff like that. And then obviously there's other stuff that, should go into it once it gets into your top 10. If like direction, writing, editing's a big one for me. If a film has bad editing, I'm out. And then, the top 2 is where I would leave it. Impacting where it holds a place in your heart for you. Like, I can't really get into that.
I think that makes perfect sense. I particularly for a subjective list, right?
Yeah, this is a subjective list.
I would agree. And overall, it's like, for me, I would consider these films. It's a vague word, but I consider these films perfect in my own eyes, right? I would change almost nothing about them, even with flaws. Like, I wouldn't change them, because this particular assortment and arrangement of scenes and molecules and all that shit, to me, affected me on such a level where I just can't see this being changed, even if there were some things that weren't perfect, but nothing's perfect.
Exactly.
Right. So they either have had to affected me on like an emotional level, entertainment level. Particularly, I have a lot of my list that like affected me philosophically, like have built me up to have garnered, like, or have ushered sort of the way I look at either life or myself, anything like that.
One. Yeah.
And these films I will also watch countless times. Like, I can keep watching them forever and put them on every day, and it would still make me feel the same way in the moments it wanted me to, and it would make me find new things to appreciate about them every time I watch them. So overall, I think you're right. It's like, it's like impact. I think overall that's what it is. It's like if these impact films, like, how infected us. Yeah, I agree with you. So it's like it really like changed your perspective, or changes you, or like just affects you. These are why these are like the top choices in our life. So okay, I think we're on the same page there about that.
Alrighty.
So shall we start?
Shall we begin? Sorry.
Shall we begin?
Star Trek Into Darkness is not in the top 5, so
that's an interesting pull. No one would have actually known. I think most people still would have known that.
You don't
reference.
think people would have known that?
But I remember that shot, shot.
That's one of the most underrated. That's another list.
Yeah, thank you.
Best trilogies. That's one of the most underrated trilogies. I don't care how upset you are about, oh, J.J. Abrams is too much with the fucking lens flare. Shut up. It was still a fun movie. Everybody knew it was Khan. Who fucking cares that it wasn't a great reveal? It was still great. It was still awesome.
It's a great movie.
It's a solid film.
I still watch that. That whole trilogy is amazing. And Into Darkness is amazing. Dude, just the visuals too in that film are amazing. They shot IMAX scenes in all the films. But there are some great fucking shots in that movie, and it's a really thrilling movie. I think people just got mad about the whole
he used was really great.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyways, okay, this is a whole nother episode.
Well, fuck yeah,
but yeah.
All right.
Anyways,
give me your number.
Let's start with our top 5. Okay, so this is in no particular order. Is that okay? Sure. Does it have to be in order in the top 5?
Nah, when we get to those like movies that hold impact.
Please don't do this to me anymore.
Saying your favorite movie of all time.
This was hard enough just to get
Go ahead.
squeezed. This is not in any particular order, but dude, considering that this is the top 5 of all time, like fuck it. Like you can give or take a couple of spots for most of these because they're all amazing to me. But okay, here's the obvious one for anybody who knows me, particularly you. Spider-Man 2.
Oh.
And I put this at the very top because I think, again, on a philosophical level and just sort of like who I am as a person, I think this film really shaped who I was. This movie came out in 2004. Okay. I was 14 or probably 13 at the time. And I was a teenager, almost going to college, and I was trying to figure myself out like we all do. And when Spider-Man 2 came out,
you were a teenager?
Yeah.
You were 12 years old.
2004. I was 13.
Oh, you're 14. Sorry.
13, 14. Yeah, 13.
Okay.
So yeah, during this time of like self-discovery, when you're,
right.
You know, you got some hair on your balls and all that shit. It just cemented this core philosophy in me of like who I wanted to be as a person. Because when you watch the trailer back, you know, when those those texts come up, those text slates come up, it was like, you know, it was all about like, what does it mean to be a hero and sacrifice and, you know, wanting what you want versus what needs to be done. All these like extremely high philosophical ideas about who you are meant to be as a person, like really, really spoke to me as a kid and the type of like man I think I should be. And so when I watched Toby, This story ultimately isn't even about that. It's about his struggle to choose what both sides. Like there's no way you can get, like you're not going to win everything, right?
Yeah.
And so it's ultimately a story about choice, about what you want to choose, and that depending on there is no real wrong answer. It's just what you choose, and the story does a beautiful thing that I haven't seen a lot of movies do, where Toby, obviously the core thing about the movie is that. For Toby and for Peter, is that he's literally losing his powers on a biological level because he's having doubts about being Spider-Man. So I thought it was way to be heavy-handed, but it just makes complete sense to me that depending on your choice, you are literally going to lose things in your life physically. And I just thought that was a brilliant bridge between relating to a superhero, because like it's a little hard to relate to a superhero because you don't know exactly how it feels to have superpowers,
right?
Okay, but that was a beautiful bridge to that. I thought I had never seen it done before, and again, it just really, besides the fact that it has great direction, the performances are phenomenal, and it has a great style in and of its own. It's a great superhero movie. It's stuff like that on a sort of like thematic level that I thought this movie just transcended all superhero films and just films in general. And again, it just spoke to me on sort of like that level about this, like, who do I want to be and how I should go about that in my life. And so Spider-Man 2, it's got to take the top spot. If I had to pick one movie, I guess that would be number one, to be honest, because of how it affected me. Oh. Anyways. That's,
okay. Well, let's make this easy. Like, okay. I will say it's in my top 5 as well. Spider-Man 5 was the pinnacle of superhero movies to me. It'll always be the pinnacle of superheroes to me. I can't find a flaw in that movie. I think you hit it right on the head. Right. As a kid who grew up reading Spider-Man comics, I don't think anything's ever gotten close to the internal struggle that that movie has. And like you said, it does teach that lesson that, you can't, sometimes in life, you cannot have your cake and eat it too. There are going to be
Most
tough
of the time.
decisions. Yeah, shit, most of the time. Good point. There are going to be really tough decisions and really, really just life gut-wrenching things that happen to you in life. And it's about, you have to get up and go. You have to do it. You have to be the thing that you be the best person you can be. And I think that's a good message to send, really. And like, it again, aside from nailing Peter Parker's basically constant internal struggle that, this life means that he can't have everything. He's not Tony Stark. He's not these other superheroes. And I think it does a really great job of that. And then you like get into the movie aspects of it. Like
filmmaking,
the practicality in a lot of the shots was insane. The train sequence will go down as one of the greatest sequences in the history of cinema. Obviously, it's going to be top 5 history of superhero cinema.
Right.
But like this was like early on in the days when superhero movies were just getting started, and this is when we got this. Again, the practicality. You watch that today, you will say, man, the swinging scenes look better than some of the Spider-Man scenes.
It literally has
today.
the best It has still to this day the best Spider-Man scenes
because Sam Raimi,
out of all of them,
stuck a camera on a fucking wire and swung it through New York. He did it practically. That's why it looks good. And
exactly.
Again, Spider-Man 2 is in my top 5 as well for all the reasons you said and more. It's just the perfect Peter Parker story, the closest one that's ever gotten to it, in my opinion. Spider-Man, the very first one, but No Way Home did a good job of getting pretty close to it.
It was pretty close, but was it though? Was it that
you
close?
Needed Toby and Andrew to get that close.
You did, exactly. So it has a huge up on there, but as a film, I still think there's no way that No Way Home even comes close to Spider-Man 2.
It's not touchable. But everything Ed said, I won't go into too much repeating and gushing about it because it's just one of my.
But we could.
In my top 5. Yeah, I could talk for 2 hours on Spider-Man and why that movie is so amazing. And that was one of the first times I left the movie going, damn, I think I want to try to do stuff like that when I get older.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's another criteria. Is like what if movies that inspire you to like make it. Actually, what's funny is that one of the criteria I had was that these movies are so great. They both inspire you to make great films like it, and also should discourage you because they're so fucking good that you're like, I could never make a movie that good.
Yeah,
I could never make a movie that good. I have that constant battle in my head all the time. I'm like, fuck, it's so good, but I'm like, shit, I'll never do that.
yeah, I agree. Yeah.
That's how good they are.
Yeah, 100%. But I think that I just can't say enough good about that film. It is just such a. It's like the Mount Everest of superhero films.
It really is. I don't know if there's a. And can I say my favorite line from that film that just it always cements to me why this is great.
Pizza Time?
One of the greatest women ever. Holy shit! How do we go through that without mentioning that?
We just got
You're
to
right.
it. So
Oh man, fuck. That's actually funnier. Fuck. I should have set you up on that so that you could have said it. That's so good.
What is it?
It's not Pizza Time, but obviously, Pizza Time. For anyone who doesn't know, that's what pizza. Yeah, that's where we got Pizza Time from. It's from that scene.
Oh yeah, duh. Of course, it's in our top 5.
We haven't explained
Look
it.
at the name of the fucking podcast. It's This is the least
so good. It made us
movie.
forget. It made us forget our name.
We definitely should have just said, "Oh, you know what? We should probably
look at the corner of the screen."
We should say, "Oh, here's number 5," just so everybody knows. We don't even need to fucking talk about it because it's just this. Yeah. Okay. What's your favorite line from the movie?
Funny. Okay, so my favorite line, it makes me cry every time, but it encapsulates in the entire movie. It's when he's talking to May behind the house when she's about to move, right? And they have a talk about she basically knows that he's fucking Spider-Man, even though she never says it. But she says this. She says, "I believe there's a hero in all of us that keeps us honest, gives us strength, makes us noble, and finally allows us to die with pride, even though sometimes we have to be steady and give up the thing that we want the most, even our dreams." I just think that's one of the possibly the greatest one of the greatest lines in cinema history.
Yeah.
What a way to encapsulate everything about it, just in case the audience wasn't sure what this movie was about. Like, here it is in the most amazing way, and it's not said by Peter himself. It's said by May, which I thought was completely appropriate and amazing. And she's an amazing actress too, and she delivered that so beautifully. And I thought that was a great thing that anybody could take on in their lives forever. So yeah. Anyways, it's Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2. It is up there for both of us. No surprise.
All right, let's go with your next one then. Why don't you go for yours?
Oh, you want me to go? Okay.
Yeah, I want you to go.
Next one, number 4, number whatever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go recent just to get out of the way. It's Top Gun Maverick. I have gone over and over in my head about movies, but it had been, and I said this on our review, it had been several years since I was in a theater sitting down that enthralled with a movie. And like I was more enthralled with Infinity War just because of all the massive moments happening than I was Endgame. But even then, that would still be 2018 is when Infinity War came out. But I don't know if I could put it on the same level as that. I think maybe the last time I was that just into the movie was maybe Captain America Winter Soldier, because I thought that movie was so fucking well done. But I cannot remember being this engaged, this entertained by a movie. And at the end of the day, don't forget, we go to movies to be entertained. Sure, they want to be thought provoking. They want to be, they want to teach you a history lesson. They want to, give you a good message or some shit. Yeah, fine, whatever. This is just pure entertainment on a level that I had not experienced in years. It felt like I was watching a football game, a crazy Monday Night Football game or something like that. And there's the moments were just so spectacular to me that I have to put it in my top 5. I cannot stress to anyone how much I enjoyed this movie, how much I loved this movie. It is easily in my top 5. And even if I was being subjective, I might have to put it in the top 10 of all time, because it just, again, the movie does something to you emotionally that movies don't do to you anymore. They just don't do. You know what's coming in Marvel movies. You know what's coming in DC movies. You know in Pixar it's going to be some oh, here's a message, you shouldn't quit on yourself, or you should believe in yourself, or all this nonsense. You're going to get some shit like that in Encanto where you matter. You know what you're going to get most of the time going into a movie. Even Everything Everywhere All at Once was just a fantastic film. You still know what you're going to get about halfway through the film. Hey, this is a story about family. With this movie, I didn't know what I was going to get. I didn't know that I was going to be caring about Phoenix or Hangman, even though Hangman's a total fucking dick. I didn't know I was going to be caring about Bob. When I first saw the poster, his name was Bob. I was like, why the hell did they just name him Bob? That's a stupid gimmick. Again, I shouldn't care about these characters. I didn't care about Maverick or any of these guys in the first film, but I left this, and when Iceman passes in the film, why do I care so much?
Yeah.
I didn't have a relationship with the guy in a movie perspective, but it just did everything right. And it did it right in a time when cutting corners, doing everything with massive CGI, and storytelling is kind of on the downside at the moment in Hollywood. And this was everything opposite of that. And to me, that is, first and foremost, it's brave, because it's that takes guts to do that in this time. It takes a lot of guts to be no, we're not going to be the same thing. We're going to be our own thing, and we're going to do it right. From that perspective, it's just so hard to forget the movie. I just keep thinking about moments in the movie, and I still haven't seen anything that has made me forget it. I've seen Jurassic World. I've seen Lightyear. I like, there's nothing that makes me forget it. And I still just like coming out. I'm like, I want to watch it again and again and again. And at the end of the day, that's what movies should make you want to do. And then from going over that, I know I'm gushing about it. Going over that, it's about the production of this movie. Takes it to the next level for me. It's just absolutely beautiful is the only way I can get it out. Like the actors going all in and going into that training, the production crew probably doing multiple takes of stuff. Like it's just so great. And it's a dedication to a craft that doesn't exist anymore. That's like dying. Like, well, we'll fix it in post. No big deal. We'll fix it in post. Oh, let's add that in because we want to get that crowd in here. This doesn't have any of that. You don't like that? Fine. But here it is. Simple. And I just can't say enough about it. I just loved that movie so much. And I just maybe it's the fact that I didn't expect it to love it as much as I did. That maybe that's the reason that it stuck with me so much. But this is the first movie, and I can say at least 10 years that has stuck with me the way it has. That is like, I just want to play it on repeat all the time. And I can't honestly tell you the other movie that stuck with me like this. If I'm being honest, it might be Spider-Man 2, the movie that stuck with me this long.
I don't blame you.
So yeah, Top Gun Maverick in my top 5. I love the film. You know me, I'm critical of stuff. I will say stuff sucks. We were talking about other shit earlier before the podcast said, and how much we were talking about Netflix films and how much they suck. Like the Old Guard movie was atrocious. This I still can't find a flaw with it. I still can't find a flaw with it.
Dude, so I'm going to piggyback on you in the sense that, fuck that. Okay. I've been having nightmares about this list. And one of them it honestly was Top Gun Maverick. Spoiler alert. It didn't break the top 5 for me ultimately. Ooh. That being said, I am with you with the movie. I've seen the movie myself 3 times in the theater already, and I want to watch it again tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day. Yeah. I think this movie will climb my list, but when I sat down and went, where the fuck can I put this? I had to ask myself, okay, here's my top 5 historically. As of right now, can I live necessarily without any of the top 5 or switch it with Top Gun Maverick? At this point, no, just because those movies still just like have affected me on some other in different points in my life and blah blah blah. Like I still can't say I would switch it out. That being said, I can't agree with you more on everything you said. Everyone who's already watched our review knows that we just love this fucking movie. I agree. It's perfect as far as I'm concerned. I'm pretty sure it will climb the more that time goes on. It's easily in my top 10. If we did a top 10 list, I would have it. Yeah. So anyways, and yeah, you brought up a great part about the whole, this movie is basically the first antithesis to the modern age of movies. It's the movie that's saying no. It's the first movie that says no to what everyone else is doing and saying, fuck that. And not only that, bringing back Hollywood, cinema. Right? Yeah. It's bringing back what Hollywood was always supposed to be about, and then doing it if this movie came out at any time, it's almost like timeless. Like you could play this movie at any time. Yes. If it arrived in the 70s, 80s, 90s, down the future, it will still play the same. And that again is what makes it like really. Yeah. I agree with you. Like one of the best. It didn't make my top 5, but I agree with you wholeheartedly, and I think it will breach eventually.
Similar to you, I had it in the top 5. I was like, sure, but like when I went back and thought about it, I was like, yeah, I would drop this movie to watch this.
Oh, so you okay? So you did have that conversation too. I
asked myself a question. I was like, if I'm watching a film on TV and I'm on the guide and I'm like, oh, Top Gun Maverick's on. Yeah. This movie's on. I would switch it out. I would watch Top Gun Maverick, and that's how I made that final decision.
There you go.
But I mean, you made a beautiful point. The movie is timeless, and I think it will go down as timeless as a la a Jaws or a Jurassic Park or something like that. Because It'll be in that upper echelon. And again, that is another fantastic point you made. It's what Hollywood used to be, and it's Hollywood should be. You know, we get very caught up in being so like focused on making a point out of our movies, that the point has to be the main thing. That here's the point that we want to like set to the audience, that to make it a good movie. Which, you know, that's something a lot of animated movies used to do. And now it seems like every movie wants to do it.
That's a great point. Yeah, that's true.
Like an animated movie, you expect that. You know, you're to a younger audience. Friendship's important. Failure is okay. Stuff like that. Like, but adult audiences sometimes don't need that. No. And the movie's it's $1 billion. It's the only movie this year to gross $1 billion. People want to. There's an appetite for it.
Yeah,
and
appetite.
I mean, look, Jurassic World's not $1 billion. Batman didn't get to $1 billion.
No.
Doctor Strange didn't get to $1 billion. We don't think Thor's going to get there. So, yeah, I just don't know what else to say about it. But yeah, no, I absolutely love that film.
I'm with you.
It is a wonderful experience, and I just want, if I could get a film like Everything Everywhere All at Once and Top Gun Maverick, one of those each a year, where there's just like beautiful moments of amazing storytelling.
Yeah.
In Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's not in my top 5, spoiler. But but like again, that movie has some absolutely spectacular storytelling moments that again, we forget about in modern Hollywood.
Yeah.
And then this movie, Top Gun Maverick, old school Hollywood. I would be a happy man for the rest of my life. But yeah. So Top Gun Maverick, you go next. Let's go.
All right. So my second or my fourth, whatever you want to call it, on my personal list, I have to put. I'm a big sci-fi fan. It's probably my favorite genre. So this is why this was.
I don't think I knew that.
That sci-fi was my favorite genre.
I didn't think I knew that.
I think overall sci-fi is like my thing.
Okay,
it's like every time there's like a sci-fi film, I'm immediately interested just because of the genre. Unlike with the opposite of that would be fantasy, where I'm like. Fantasy has a high hill for me to climb. Like when I see any fantasy, I'm like, I don't know, not, I'll watch it probably, but it doesn't immediately capture me. But there's something about the genre of sci-fi that I've always loved. And it's the thing it easily gets my attention every single time. Okay. So this was really hard to pick. I was like, I have to have a sci-fi film on here. And it was easy because just once I tell you, but there had to be one. And I think this is the one that is one of the most universally acclaimed films. Came out in 1999, like a lot of amazing films did. And it's you already know what it is, but it's The Matrix. The Matrix is just. I mean, do I have to say too much? It's besides the obvious, which that it was groundbreaking on a visual and CGI level, gave us visuals we'd never seen before. Particularly me as a kid who hadn't seen everything yet, but still. It like the movie did for Neo, it unlocked my mind, like literally. It not just on a visual level, but on a philosophical level. One of the things that I loved about the film was that it made me question, taught me how to question reality, not necessarily lose my mind about it, but it's like not everything is as it seems. Always ask questions, always be thinking about what could be and instead of what it is, because it may not be. That was one of the first movies I ever saw that made me think that way. Again, I was 8 when this movie came out, so just trying to figure out life, and this is one of those that just really captured me. Performances are amazing. The direction, the production, all of it is just flawless. We've never seen anything like this before in cinema up to that point, and I think it just did it amazingly. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. Like, let's talk about all the iconic moments. We could spend another 5 hours here just talking about every single scene that is now iconic. All the fights, the dojo fights, the one-liners, the whoa, the I know kung fu. Again, and just the cool. It's one of the coolest movies ever made. Like it is bleeding, just cool. It's just one of the fucking cool. It made hackers seem cool. It made nerds seem cool because Neo was basically like this dawn on his luck job, just a coder. nobody cared about coders, and now he's like the one. I mean, just like that's the coolest fucking thing. Growing up as a nerd, that was one of the coolest things ever too. And yeah, the script is just so precise. The editing is amazing. The way that it took so many genres before it and was able to coalesce it into its own thing was amazing. It's incredible what the Wachowskis, and again the Wachowski at the time brothers did. Just one of the best things that I think anyone's ever seen. I don't think anybody could argue that The Matrix is bad by any means. Arguable that the sequels had the same impact. I love the sequels. Well, I'll tell everyone I still love the sequels.
Wait, you need to.
I'm sorry.
You need to course correct there, my friend.
You're right. I'm sorry. The Resurrections obviously was oh Jesus Christ, hopefully that gets lost in
hopefully somebody forgets about it. Maybe it'll get lost in the Matrix, get reprogrammed. But yeah, I agreed with you. The Matrix didn't have as big of an impact as me when I was a kid, mostly because I didn't really get it. But when I rewatched it when I was older, I was
totally
like,
understandable.
Oh yeah, I get it now.
Totally understandable.
Like from an action movie, sci-fi, yeah, of course the scenes were just insane. And then like when you go watch the behind the scenes today, it's still so well done. Like you see like Keanu Reeves. One of my favorite things, bloopers to watch, is Keanu Reeves is standing behind this pillar and he's getting shot at. So like lots of things are popping off. And he
lobby fight.
He goes around the corner and he falls. And they have to reset all of that stuff. You know how much money that must have cost? We have to reset it. Yeah. Keanu Reeves. It's a fantastic film. I don't blame you one bit. I think that's a great choice, man.
Yeah.
I got no problems with that one at all.
How could you?
Yeah. So many guns. Lots of guns.
Lots of guns. Definitely lots of
guns. So many lines. The slow-mo fucking thingy bobber.
Slow-mo. I mean, come on.
It's great. And just,
I don't blame you a bit. The screenplay, everything about that movie, like just scene to scene, is just so captivating. There's not one scene that feels out of place.
Yeah, I would agree.
It entertains you. It gives you a fairly good love story for the most part. But the end and the action, it's believable. I get that. I get it. Yeah. And again, the heavy philosophical tones is just something that it took a huge risk. Like nobody on paper, that movie sounds like something no one would watch.
Right.
But they turned it into a world phenomenon. What can I say? And how could it be anymore? So Matrix, love that thing. It's amazing.
So I gave you 4. Why don't you kick us off with 3? Obviously not in any particular order, just
go again. I can go again.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because I gave 5, then I gave my 4, then you gave your 4. So
okay.
Go ahead.
All right. Okay. Fair enough. So I'm looking at my list here. I want to go with one that's like, I want to go with an offshoot a little bit that everyone's going to be like, this is the most controversial one I have on my list. But I got to say, man, like before Top Gun Maverick, I had to think about the last movie that really affected me. And if I have to be honest, it is 2015's La La Land.
Oh,
a lot of people.
I forgot how much you loved this fucking movie.
I'm a La La Lander, dude.
I forgot.
Yeah. It's not a movie I bring up a lot because I'm one of the only people who like loves it at this level. The only other person that I know loves it at this level is Mr. Scott Mance, and we can talk about that movie for ages. But I feel I'm a little alone in this one, and that's fine. But I'm going to tell you, man. When I watched this movie, I watched it at TIFF. It was before it even came out. I was lucky enough to go to TIFF for another job, and I was able to see it there. Knew close to almost nothing about it besides that Damien Chazelle was the director who created one of the best movies of the decade, which is Whiplash, which might be in my top 15 to be honest if we ever do a whole list. But Whiplash was phenomenal. Here comes La La Land, which I wasn't expecting at all to do anything that crazy. Right. I came out of that theater so affected by that movie. I was crying for like the last hour, just because what the movie. I want to really quickly. People talking about the goddamn jazz and white whatever savior of jazz bullshit. Missed the point of the movie. I'm sorry, but if you want to get hyped up,
Jesus, I've never heard that take. No.
Oh, really? Oh, dude, it's like one of
No,
the most insane. It's like, freaking Ryan Gosling is this white guy, and he's like saving jazz, and everyone had a problem. It's like, oh, white savior for jazz, which is like a largely black. Then I'm like, okay.
Everybody has a problem with everything. That's the
Jesus
sequel to
Christ.
Everything Everywhere All at Once. Everybody has a problem with
everything.
With something. So,
That should be a good sequel, dude.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
Shit. Yeah, and then just make fun of all of it. I'm on it.
That is one of the biggest issues with that film, and everyone can stop talking about it. Mostly the black community, obviously. But anyways, aside from that, and like, the characters can't sing, blah blah blah. They're not supposed to. Anyways, I was gonna say the movie. What the movie does really really well is that it definitely, at the end of the day, what Damien Chazelle is really good at is speaking to the audience that his movies are for. Whiplash is they're mostly for artists, to be honest. Like the first movie, Whiplash, was about obsession. He hyper focused on what that does to somebody. This movie, he's hyper focused on telling basically the life of anyone who has a dream, anyone who is fighting for something in their life that they believe, that they want, they're putting their chips on, whether it be their job or love. Or their hobby. That movie tackles all of that. And as someone who, I'm a minority. I'm just trying to make it in Hollywood. I want to do films and all that shit while balancing my own life and love and all that.
Right.
It does an amazing job of really distilling that experience for people like that. Particularly, and it's like really heartbreaking yet beautiful ending. If you haven't seen the film, please just watch it. I don't want to ruin it, but it just again, like a lot of these films on the list, the production on this is incredible. Most of it is practical, and it's just, you just feel the love that Damien has for movies in this film, like just how lavish the production is, how amazing the music is, and just like, again, a lot of the risk that he took casting Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling, who have incredible chemistry, probably one of the best chemistries in all of Hollywood and cinema history. But the fact that they don't sing, but that's kind of the point. Like, it's a musical, but they're supposed to be relatable, and they can sing for the most part. It's not about them being able to sing. It's a story about these grounded characters, again, who are just trying to make it. Again, they're not supposed to sing necessarily because it's not a glorification of making it. That's not what the movie's about. Which is what a lot of people think when you think about LA or Los Angeles, is like, you have to make it. And this movie is not about that. It's the pursuit of wanting that, but then needing other things, needing love, and needing to figure out how to merge all that together. And it just took me by complete surprise when I watched it. I thought everything about it was funny. It made me cry. It touched me in my soul as an artist, and it did all of that. And I just think it's just, to this day, I bought the freaking vinyl for the soundtrack, and I still play it every once in a while on my my iPod, and I just think everything about it is amazing. Anyways, that's La La Land. It's definitely like a offshoot list. I don't know if anyone else would ever have this besides Scott Mans in their top 5 of all time. But as I said, if you want to talk about impact, for me, it impacted me immensely. Right. After my first viewing, I remember I immediately went on my Instagram and started gushing about it, talking about it's a perfect film. Damien Chazelle is going to be like the next master of cinema, and I still hold that even with First Man, which I didn't love, but it was still pretty good. Hopefully he comes back with that. He's doing Babylon next, which should be pretty good. Anyways,
Toby.
La La Land. Toby. He's producing that. I didn't even know that, and he's in it.
He's in it.
He EP'd that, so that's interesting. I always find that
super
interesting. Know. He must have some fascination with that. So, anyways,
on La La Land, I agree with you.
Thoughts?
Like I don't love the movie the way you do, but I'm not going to say it's a bad movie by any means. And I think you hit it really well when you said the production. Yeah, the production of that movie was very well done.
Incredible.
The way Damien filmed it, and the way it looked, the style, the editing was really fun in it as well. I thought there were some really great cutback scenes, just really timed really well, that I think is really kind of
absolutely
wonderful.
Needed for any musical.
Yeah, great stuff in there. So yeah. La La Land, I can't gush about it I could The Matrix, because I don't. I mean, I'm not going to say it's a bad movie by any means. I think it's a great movie. So I have no No disagreements there.
Thank you.
You will not find a disagreement with me. If you want, it's a subjective. It's a completely subjective top 5, people. So anything and everything can be in it.
I'm sure that's a. Oh, I thought were you referencing the movie just now, or is that a line? Everything in it. Everything. What'd you say? Anything
Oh no, I wasn't trying to. Do that.
Okay.
No,
when you say that now, I'm gonna think you think the movie. So okay.
No, that's the trilogy. Anything can be in it. Yeah, after anyone and everyone will complain about it, or someone. Yeah. I forgot what I said.
You had a tighter, or we'll watch it back. That was tighter. Much better.
But it doesn't have to be tighter. Everything, everywhere, all at once is not tight at all.
True.
It's like the movie, not tight at all. It's fucking eccentric. No. Anyway, so
your turn. Give me
my
your
number
next
3.
Here.
This won't surprise you. I don't think it'll surprise anyone. If you've been listening, it kind of fits with the tastes that I think we have. But this one goes on to the whole impact one.
Okay,
and it's Inception. I don't know if everyone can have Inception in their top 5. Maybe a lot of people have it in their top 10.
So my top 10 for sure.
Yeah. But Inception I remember watching a trailer for Inception, and then in the trailer for Inception, you see the train. There's a train sequence, a train going through a dream. And then I was just like, whoa, that looks phenomenal. Right. Looks. I wasn't even talking about the story or anything. Then we got into the story, and I know that there's a lot of people that really hate Inception. That really it's too confusing.
Yeah, they do.
It's a dream within a dream, and then within another dream. But I just loved the idea. It's a heist movie turned on its head, and that's the kind of stuff that Chris Nolan does that makes him a spectacular director, and his brother, the duo has a spectacular directing crew. And
that's still an understatement. Like that, just that explanation of it is still there's so much more. But yeah, you're right. It's a heist film turned on its head. That's true.
Yeah. It's on the very simplest terms. It's a heist film, which is, hey, that's great. That's what makes it fun and wonderful. And I just I think the movie is fantastic. It almost grossed $1 billion at the box office. It was one of the highest grossing original ideas ever. So yeah, and the sequences when Joseph Gordon-Levitt is in the hotel and it's spinning around
the rotating hotel,
and then you go back afterwards, Ed, and you watch the YouTube video of how he did it practically. You're just
I've seen it many times.
He did it practically. The chase scene in where is he? I forget where Leonardo
Mombasa.
Yeah, when he's there, he's running from the people that are trying to capture him. You don't know if he's, going to get back to his kids. And then it's that open-ended ending. So it's open for your interpretation, which I personally like to believe he made it back. I know you never see the spinner drop. I personally like to believe he made it back. I just want to be an optimist about the world. But what do you believe?
I'm one of those that don't care. I'm one of those that goes
the movie's good enough on its own.
The point is, no, it's more so that whether or not it's real or not, it's he's happy because with whatever version of kids that he's with, he's happy and he feels like he made it. So yeah, I'm with the Nolan ambiguity on that, where it's it doesn't matter because he's happy.
And really
subjectively he's happy.
It fits into the overall arc, and actually all 3 of our movies so far fit into the overall arc of there's not yes, there's a message in Spider-Man 2, but it's not punching you in the face. It's not saying, in Spider-Man 2, it's important.
Not at all.
It's trying to tell you there's life is full of tough decisions. Yes, that's the point the movie's trying to get to you. But it's not throwing it in your face. It doesn't say, let's put this message up and put the story back here.
Right.
It's saying, let's average them out. Let's tell a good story and people will understand the message. And then, look, again, that's this movie. Let's tell a good story. Let's entertain the hell out of the audience. Let's try to confuse them. Let's wow them with some amazing cinematography. When Joseph Gordon-Levitt and, I don't want to mess up his name. No, her name.
Elliot Page.
Yeah, Elliot. Is it still Elliot Page?
It's Elliot Page, yeah.
Okay, when Elliot Page, sorry, I didn't know. When they're walking up the stairs and he's explaining
Penrose
how
steps.
the steps, and then he stops and the steps are gone.
Yeah.
And you're just like,
Yeah.
whoa,
The camera
whoa, whoa. When she, she's closing doors and then opens them up and it's like a mirror and you just see for days. And, there's still that moment of like kind of suspense happening because Leo's saying, whoa, are you building this from real life? Well, no. Only use partial things, never full. The fucking scene where they're at the cafe and things start blowing up and it's slow motion. They did all that practically, Ed. It was I
know.
Again, like it's one of those things that you just do. Where practicality goes the extra mile, right?
Yeah.
So like,
absolutely.
I just left that film going, God damn, I loved that movie.
Yeah.
I just thoroughly enjoyed it. Could I tell you what the hell actually happens in it after the first time? Probably not.
Definitely not after the first time.
No.
But you know what? You know what? I would argue though, first of all, how could I not agree with your choice? Inception would be probably my second favorite sci-fi film of all time if we do a sci-fi top 5. I love that movie too. It affected me so incredibly when it came out, man. It was just original. It's one of the most original films I'd ever seen, particularly up to that point. I was like, this dude just fucking wrote whatever the hell, like what he wanted, and he did it. It's it's immensely complex. Like the whole, but I still believe to this day, it's not that hard to follow if you're paying attention.
I was just about to say
attention.
That.
He gives you everything you need to understand what's happening.
Yeah.
And maybe we just like sci-fi a lot, but when I first saw it the first time, I pretty much got what was going on for the most part. Sure, there are like little details where I'm like, how does that work? But for the most part, I understood what was happening. And I think, but I get it for like, the general audience who is maybe not expecting that much information to be hitting you and the visual stimulus and all that great stuff happening. It's overwhelming. I get that. But once you watch it again, watch it a couple more times, it's actually pretty. It makes sense. It's amazing. It's a testament to Nolan as a writer to be able to distill such a complex idea into something that is fairly, like, I would argue Tenet and Interstellar can get even more confusing than Inception at the end of the day. Particularly Tenet. Yeah.
Dude, bro, I can tell you that I love Christopher Nolan. I will defend him.
Me too.
I hated Interstellar. And I did not love.
Oh, you don't like Interstellar?
I hated Interstellar.
What?
I hated it.
No
I was
way.
Like, I can't fucking. And like people have told me,
hated Interstellar.
Yeah, friends have told me, hey,
Tenet,
watch it again. Maybe you just need another watch. I watched it like 3 or 4 times. I fucking hate that movie.
I didn't think you would hate it.
I cannot get into that movie. I don't know what it is. I just do not like it. I'm just like,
surprising.
This is. I was like sitting there and I'm like, this movie makes me painful. Like I'm starting to get achy. Fuck is going on, man?
The thing about Interstellar,
maybe I'm just too dumb. I don't know.
I love Interstellar. That being said, I completely can understand how it's one of the more problematic Nolan films, and it is, to be honest. It's not one of my favorite. It's not my top Nolan film. It's not even the top 4, I think. But I get why it's good. But yeah, you're right. There's in comparison to Inception, one of the things that Interstellar isn't is as entertaining.
Right.
There are definitely slow parts in that movie. I think it's actually a little overlong, to be honest. I think it definitely could have been edited down a little bit. But it's it's a little bit harder to get into than even I think Inception was, because Inception at least was such a thrilling movie. There was so much happening. The pace of the movie is breakneck at that point. And so, wow, that was a weird word. But yeah, I totally get it. I understand. But I still love that movie for a lot of reasons. The score is amazing. But
that's my number 3. I just love Inception.
I'm with you. I watched it last week. I didn't. I put that movie on every once in a while.
I watched it last month. I try to watch it once every couple months. It's just it's a fun time to me. I love the movie. The premise is super unique and different, and like I said, I think I said earlier in this episode,
original.
that the last time I felt like that in the theater after watching Top Gun was Inception, and that was in 2010.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's just one of those films that can just be the pinnacle of cinema when you are just worried about doing things right. Everything.
I agree with you.
The movie's just cool. At the end of the day, that's the only thing I can think of saying about that movie. It's just.
I was
cool.
gonna say it's why I put it like pretty much below The Matrix is because they're very similar movies in the way that I felt about them. Like again, highly original concepts, very cool.
Yeah,
philosophical and practical effects and groundbreaking. Like they're very similar movies, and so that's why they're the top, like the top sci-fi movies I've ever seen. Easily in my top 5 as well.
So fun.
I'm with you on that. On that all the way.
So you did 3. That was our 3. So I'll go jump into my number 2.
All right,
and this is
penultimate.
This is probably like my number 1 of all time, but I'll say it before. And you're gonna know what this is. This is The Mummy.
Yeah. Wow. Damn. That's your favorite movie of all time. God
The Mummy is, there is just such a special place in my heart for The Mummy. It was 1999, Ed with The Matrix. I was 9 years old. I remember begging my mom to take me to this movie. She said, no, you're going to get scared. But she broke and she took me. And I loved it. Dude, I was a weenie as a kid. I was scared of fucking everything.
Oh, really? Oh,
I was Courage the Cowardly Dog, man. I was scared of my own shadow. But yeah,
Courage.
I got no qualms fucking admitting that. You wanna?
No, that's fine.
I don't give a shit. But yeah, The Mummy, Brendan Fraser, Rachel Weisz. I left this movie. This was the first movie I watched, and I was 9 years old going, man, I want to do that. Not I want to be Rick O'Connell, not I want to be a Magi. I want to do that. I want to make stuff like that. I want to be creative and do stuff like that. That was the first time I ever had that feeling, and that is why that movie will always be my number 1 movie of all time. Subjectively, it's rotten on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't know how it's rotten on Rotten Tomatoes.
I hate it when people bring that up.
I can make a video essay today explaining why The Mummy is Indiana Jones for millennials, for our generation.
Hell yeah.
That movie should hold so high. And again, everything about that movie is just so much fun. Yeah, there's problems with the writing. No, it's not perfect.
No, I would disagree with you.
You don't think there's a problem with the writing?
No. Dude, The Mummy is like probably my favorite adventure movie of all time. I'm with you. This is why we can have this show together, because a lot of our top films are the same.
Yeah, okay, it's fine. There's no problems with the writing. I think it's a great example of how to write a strong female character without being too.
Hold on.
Is it fresh?
When did this movie become fresh?
I don't know.
It's at 61. Hold on. Was it? Are you sure it was Ron?
It was 59.
Yeah, it was, right?
Yeah.
It is 61% right now.
Wow.
101 reviews.
Whoa. It got more reviews. More people.
I guess so. I mean, it had to have been.
I bet younger viewers are watching it. Reviewers are watching it and saying, "Oh, this is a great movie." But yeah, the movie is. Here's how to write a great hero in Rick O'Connell, Brendan Fraser. Here's how to write a great counter hero or co-partner, whatever the fuck you want to call her, in Rachel Weisz. She's the smartest person in the movie, and it's not ashamed about showing it. Like, hey, 21st century movies we're in today. You want to write a strong female character? Go watch The Mummy and figure out how to do it. Like, that's a great template. It's like, she's not taking anyone's bullshit, but she's not cocky about it. She's not, she's the smartest person in the room, but she's also not like fucking over the top with it. It really works out really well. I don't know who wrote the movie. Steven Sommers directed it, right?
Steven Sommers. Also, I would argue people nowadays should look, if we want a strong female character, just look back in the 90s in general. We already had them.
That's a great.
We already had them. So I don't know what the fuck people are talking about.
Go back and look at Alien or Aliens. Go look at Ripley. Fuck.
Terminator.
Yeah.
Like, I grew up with these people.
Yeah, come on.
The fuck are people talking about? And yeah, I would agree. Rachel Weisz is Evie is her name,
Evie.
I think.
Oh,
Evelyn.
The chemistry
Wonderful
they
character.
had was just electric. It just
great
worked so
chemistry.
well. Fucking Benny. Well, isn't it my old pal Benny? What'd you do? You're gonna take him out there, leave him in the desert? No, these Americans are smart. They give me half now, half when I bring them back. And then he throws him off the fucking boat.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Looks like I got all the horses.
Looks to me like you're on the wrong side of the river.
So good, man.
I can like quote every line in that movie.
I think you could probably say the entire script.
I know the whole
by
movie.
heart.
I have watched that movie
I would argue
over and over and over again.
I love The Mummy Returns. I would still argue though a big part that was missing in The Mummy Returns was Benny. A Benny character.
Yeah.
I wish he didn't die because he is so good.
Yeah.
I don't even know who that actor is, to be honest. I don't remember, but
Yeah.
he's phenomenal in that role.
I will fight you over The Mummy Returns because a lot of people say that movie's absolutely awful. I don't think it's that bad.
I love it. I still like it a lot.
One of the worst CGI moments in movie history.
That's true. That's true.
100% true.
That's true.
They definitely should not have done that, but that's okay. They absolutely should not have done that. They should have been like, you know what? Maybe we'll just ask The Rock to put on some more muscle and we'll put some tentacles on him. Fuck it. Instead of digitally putting his face there.
It should have just been the Rock. Like it should have just been him in the human form. I don't understand.
Yeah, with powers, that would have been better.
It could have looked cool. It could have been cool. I mean, the idea still is cool. It's just the worst. It just looks so bad. I get it. I still understand that. Also, I remember this part. I don't know if they meant to do this, but it's one of the funniest moments. But when Rick stabs the Scorpion King and then what's his name? Imhotep goes like, nah.
Oh yeah,
like the wide shot, and then when it stays on it, makes me laugh so much.
Yeah,
but that makes me go like, they didn't get an insert of that.
No.
Because it plays like a Buster Keaton movie. Just like he just walks in. It's so funny. Anyways, Mummy. I couldn't agree with you more. I love Mummy. It's one of my favorite adventure movies.
It's up there. It might be my favorite adventure movie of all time. Which I know.
Love that.
Actually, you know what? It is my favorite adventure movie of all time.
Yeah,
which I know is a very like. There's some great ones out there. National Treasure, obviously, a few of the Indiana Jones 1 and 3. I
would still choose The Mummy.
Yeah, I love The Mummy. It is had when we started this list. Ed said, "What are your criteria?" And first thing I said was impact. It has had the biggest impact on me. I can't imagine what I would be doing today if I didn't go see the Mummy when I was 9 years old.
Yeah, it sounds like it's the movie that like made you want to go all in with movies. Like this is why you're here right now.
It is
talking about movies.
The Mummy led me to watching Raiders of the Lost Ark. It introduced me to Terminator 2. It introduced me to Jurassic Park. It introduced me to Jaws. Like it's just the reason I started like looking up stuff in movies and reading books about movies. The Mummy did that. That was it for me. And then it only got stronger when Spider-Man came out, and then Spider-Man 2 just went fucking bonkers. But I love that movie. I will fight anybody that says that movie's bad because
I cannot believe, honestly, I can't believe the score is that low and that. Well, it's funny because it actually did have a big impact on culture. Like people know The Mummy. People remember Brendan Fraser. There's a fucking ride of it in Universal Studios that's been there for years. Yeah. So it did shock me to know that not all the critics loved it, and that even this audience score at 250,000 ratings is still at 75%. So it's not universally loved, and at the same time, I feel like it is loved because it's everywhere in a sense. It's odd. Yeah. It has a odd place in the lexicon. But I would agree with you that even in my life at 1999, it's just one of the best movies that I've ever seen. And it might just be in my top. It might be in my top 10. We'll see. We talk about that movie all the time, so it probably is.
It is so fucking.
Did I put it?
It's amazing.
I actually made a list. I made a list of top 10 earlier. Oh yeah, I did. I put it in at least my top 10. I put it in there.
Oh, okay. Well, good. Yeah. So, all right. So that's my number 2.
Love it.
What do you got? Switch to you so I can pee. And then go on.
Okay.
Wait, make some movements so I can cut that out. Go.
You want me to go? Okay. So.
Oh no, wait.
What?
I guess I won't be able to hear what movie it is. Let me hear the movie first. Go ahead.
No, just go pee. Go pee.
All right,
pretty fast. I'll be You must not read from the book. He really understand. Yeah, I think I'll do Dark Knight. Oh, my bad. You're back. Oh, okay. What happened?
The toilet's finishing. Doing
Oh,
its thing.
gotcha.
Sorry.
I was like, it's like you just sat down. I'm like, what happened?
Oh no, I said 1 second. Okay, good.
Okay.
So number 2.
Okay. Okay. So my second to last on the list.
Okay.
This film, again, I don't think will come to surprise for anyone. I'm just coming out to say it. It's 2008. Is it 8 or 7? You might have to correct me on this, but it's 2008. It's a superhero film. Surprisingly, it's the second one on this list, but it would have to be Christopher Nolan, The Dark Knight.
Oh, it's 2008.
2008, right? Okay, good.
Yeah,
I thought it could have been 2007. Okay, great. 2008. 2008's The Dark Knight, Christopher Nolan's. I mean, probably, again, besides Spider-Man 2, arguably might be the greatest superhero film of all time.
Yeah.
And I again, what else more is there to say about The Dark Knight besides that it changed superhero movies. It transcended super movies, that's for sure. That's probably its biggest thing, is that it transcended the genre that it was in. Arguably, Batman Begins did that too, which is another obviously amazing film. Yeah. But I think The Dark Knight solidified it just because of how much it fell into its themes even more on a filmmaking level, just the amount of production that went into, I mean, arguably every goddamn scene in that movie. And you obviously have the greatest villain, arguably, of all time in any film, the Joker. Keith Ledger's performance. Arguably. I mean, I wouldn't argue if anyone said that the Joker was the greatest movie villain of all time. He might just be. I mean, it's easily one of the greatest performances of all time, villain or hero or not, by Heath Ledger. And it's magnetizing just to see him on screen. But even then, even without the Joker, the film in and of itself, it does its own thing. Again, it doesn't play by any rules besides here's the story, and we're going to do it. We're going to do it the best way we possibly can while thrilling you with some incredible action sequences, both CGI and practical. The bat pod chase and that whole sequence with the freaking Batmobile. It starts off with the Batmobile, and then they're underneath the freeway, and then he's using the rocket launcher dude, when the bat pod comes out of the Batmobile, the tumbler, Jesus fucking Christ, I think I creamed my pants. Like, I was not expecting that. Like the way, like, you know, because like we knew the bat pod was coming because we saw it in the trailers. But the way they decided to how that came about was so mind blowing to me. I don't know why, but that was the coolest fucking thing I've seen in a superhero film ever. I mean,
it was amazing.
Goodbye, and it just from that moment, the scene just doesn't stop until fucking. You know, we get that great truck flip, and
the truck flip is amazing in that movie. And then
he goes up and he twists around, and he goes that. There's so much in that one scene. But here's one of the greatest things about that movie that I think a lot of movies don't do. It's one of the greatest parts of Nolan as a director.
Okay,
it's the first time in a film where I felt it was in constant climax. Like there's so many points
yeah. Okay.
It just constant. It's kind of like Top Gun Maverick at that end sequence where you just don't know, like, is this the end? It's this the end, and it keeps going and it keeps going, and every scene builds upon the next up to this. Again, this great crescendo. Might be one of the greatest endings of all time in a film. That monologue by Jim Gordon as as Batman flees away. Incredible. I just and it's a 2.5 hour movie, and it's just every scene I just can't see the movie being without. I mean, particularly the action scenes. Again, like when he goes to Hong Kong and tries to nab what's his name? I forget his actual name. But the Chinese guy, the Chinese character, the way he flies into the building, the IMAX, the use of IMAX in the movie, possibly still the greatest use of IMAX in any movie.
Wow. It's amazing.
It's incredible. It's incredible, dude.
It's a fantastic film.
It's great.
It's in my top 10. Absolutely.
Nice. Cool.
I kind of wrangled with it. Do I put it in the top 5? Do I not? I don't know. So yeah, I mean, it's probably like one of those top 5s that like we can like switch out. Like
I said,
this year it's in my top 5. Next year it's not. That's
a great point. Like a lot of people talk about these lists. Sometimes it's just how you feel. Like sometimes it's just the time. It's like the year or the month, and you're just like, you know what, man? Yeah, The Dark Knight is better than The Matrix. I don't know. Like you can switch.
Exactly.
It's the beauty. It's the beauty of that. But yeah, right.
Yeah, this is a subjective list. But everything you said again, dude. like we've said this whole episode, production value. It is there.
That's what I'm kind of seeing throughout all of our movies, like
heavy
time and just people who really take the time to make a great film. It really shows and it matters.
People that care about their craft. That's what
care about the craft.
Really kind
Passionate
of
filmmakers.
Propelling our list forward, And minus, I guess you could say The Mummy. You can maybe take out some of it, like because on a production level, maybe it's not the same. But again, the production in The Dark Knight is amazing. That whole chase sequence is crazy. I love when he comes into the Wayne Towers penthouse and he goes, "Ladies and gentlemen," and he takes the glass and the fucking everything falls out of the glass, and then he has a little bit of put it down, and he goes,
"What a wonderful character."
The old man tells him something. I can't remember exactly what he tells him.
We don't something to thugs like you or some shit like that.
And he like,
come here.
You remind me of my father.
Yeah.
I hated my father. Yeah. Oh, because like he can go from that like kind of like funny to crazy, terrible thing in just like a split second. Yeah. That is just so fucking good.
Yeah, he's unpredictable. Like every time he's on screen, you just don't know what he's going to do or say next and how he's going to do it, and it's just so magnetizing.
Yeah, the line introduce a little anarchy into your life. Yeah, there's so many quotable lines.
Great lines. Yeah, Harvey Dent, I thought was really good too.
The fact that you go into the fact that when he blows up the hospital, that was actually a blooper.
The hospital scene. Yeah, right. Because they played a joke on him a little bit.
Well, no, not really. He was waiting for the things to go off.
Yeah, right. No, and they stalled it.
No, they didn't think it was going to happen. They were like Christopher Nolan came on and said, "So we bought this hospital. We're going to blow it up." And
as you do,
he presses the button, and like it didn't go. So then we were like, "Uh-oh, do we have to reset?" So he turned around and he kept pressing the button, and then boom, it went. And he just didn't break character at all. Heath Ledger, really missed him.
I thought that was on purpose. No. Was that an accident? Okay.
That was all an accident. It wasn't supposed to be like that.
Luckily, I thought it was on purpose.
They had everything set up, ready to roll, but obviously you're rolling, hoping it happens, but you don't really know it stalled. Something happened. But Heath kept going with it, and it turned out to be one of the best moments in the film.
I know. Who would have thought?
So just so many great quotable moments. It's definitely one of those films that is in like my top 6 probably. Like I go back and forth.
Yeah, it's a back and forth. It's a back and forth.
Yeah, it's a back and forth game. But great, wonderful choice again. But now it's time to go to our last one here in our top 5. Why don't you go first? Because I did the last one. You go.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Here we go. So this one's an obvious one also to anybody who knows me. And I saved it for the last just because it's probably the most obvious besides Spider-Man 2.
Oh,
but
I think
it's the duo of cinema. It's Mr. Marty McFly and Doc Brown in Back to the Future. And I have to do like all of them. It's like
that's okay.
Part 1 through 3. Because it's too fucking hard to pick. Because it's basically one movie though, because it literally bleeds into the next. So that's all I'm saying. It's technically one movie. Anyway, I can argue that. But yeah, Back to the Future. What else is there to say? It's iconic. The script, the pacing, the characters. I mean, pinpoint. The performances, the tone of the movie is amazing. It's just this beautiful. It doesn't take itself too seriously, yet it does take its themes very seriously. Like you really feel for the characters. You want them to succeed. And it's funny. It's so creative. Like just and the time travel, the use of time travel, I think is amazing. How it bleeds into every part. And it's just again the guitar scene from the first one. The almanac in the second. The family scene in the second. I mean, there's so many amazing moments that is able to play around each other. In the same situations, yet making them feel new, and then each movie feels so different. They go to the Wild West in the third one. I mean, there's just so much. It's bleeding with creativity. It's one of those scripts where like this is what cinema's made for.
Yeah,
this is exactly what the medium is made for. Like I don't think a book of Back to the Future would play anywhere near as good, because you just really need that visual element. That again at the time, some groundbreaking stuff when they did it. The DeLorean, iconic. I literally have like 5 DeLorean. If I could turn my camera right now, I have like 5 mini DeLoreans all over my desk. I have the poster up here. I have the fucking if you see the from the old or the original shot that I have the freaking hoverboard right here. It's just, it meant so much to me when I first saw it. It was the first time in movies where I felt like it probably was the first time ever. I think this was my mummy for you. Like when I saw it, I'm like, that's what I want to fucking do. Like that, everything about all of it was it felt so original. Like it's just bursting with creativity, and just how could you not love it? Like how could you not like Back to the Future? It's such a feel good movie, and it's a sci-fi buddy cop. Just everything. It has everything in it, and it's beautiful. What can I say? So.
I cannot argue at all. It is such a iconic movie. It's one of those movies that I could another one that you could always put on. It's a movie that, just like everything about it makes you go, this is fucking cool, man.
Yeah.
The soundtrack, the Johnny B. Good scene.
Oh, how could I forget the soundtrack? Jesus, like it's so iconic. Everything about it is almost iconic. Like just
the little the note bum 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 or something like that.
Or just the chimes.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, the chimes. Yeah, I remember when they brought out that terrible Ready Player One movie, and they were able to fucking what? It was a bad movie. The book is fantastic.
I didn't like it. Yeah, it's not a good movie.
And that hook that they hooked you at the end when they had that little ding because he drives a DeLorean in it. So I mean,
name a more like iconic movie, like just like where it had like almost every detail of it is like it's impenetrated the zeitgeist in some way.
It's a musical now.
Everything. Yeah, it is.
It's a musical now. It's only in London. I'm really hoping it comes to the States soon. Because I do think it's good. I have heard the soundtrack. The guy sounds pretty great when he's singing Johnny Be Good. Yeah, so I'm definitely I'm on par with it, man. It's up there in my top 10 for sure.
Great.
Again, I guess it doesn't hold the impact for me, but I can't find a flaw with that movie. I don't love the sequels as much as I think you do.
I think I'm in love with the second one. I switch every time if part 2 and part 1 is better, whichever. I think they're both the same to me, to be honest. Part 3 is easily the weakest one, but I still love it. When I watch 1 and 2, I have to watch 3. It's like one of those things for me. But it's easily not the best one, but it's still really strong to me.
Yeah, it's just I agree with you. It's such an iconic film. yeah, I have no problems with that at all.
Yeah. How could you? Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Anyways,
I love it.
all right. Let's go on to yours.
My number one is actually, if I had to actually put these in an order, if you forced me to, I'd probably put it at 5, and it would be one of those ones that I could switch out year over year.
Right.
You know,
with the bottom,
as we go.
the mid.
With the bottom. But it might surprise you. It is actually Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. I absolutely adore that film. And it is a film that I can rewatch over and over and over again. It is a film that I don't know why I hold it so high. I can't fully explain it. I do think it's well performed. I think it's well directed. I think it looks really good. The soundtrack is another one of those soundtracks. If you don't have the Pirates of the Caribbean soundtrack stuck in your head every month or so, bum bum ba-da-dum, bum ba-da-dum, bum ba-da-dum.
Honestly, for me, first of all, I love the movie. I don't think I will hold it anywhere near as high regard as you do. That being said, I love the movie. But one of the two things that are great about it for me, obviously, Captain Jack Sparrow. Yes. One of the greatest characters in cinema. But the second one would be the soundtrack, 100%. Right. We performed that soundtrack. I was in band in high school. We performed that soundtrack. It's my, hands down, still to this day, my favorite thing to perform. It's an amazing soundtrack. Every time it's on, it's like, how can you not be so, it just fills you with energy and the sense of adventure. And it's just so good. Anyways, I agree with you. Keep going.
It's my second or third favorite adventure film of all time. Look, they're just hunting for treasure. Johnny Depp's amazing in it. Orlando Bloom's amazing in it. Gore Verbinski does a fantastic job directing it.
Amazing.
And I saw it when I was 13 years old. And I, at that point, had only really been, I think I'd been to Disneyland once in my life. My mom had taken us once. And I remember, the only thing I remember about the trip was I wanted to ride Pirates of the Caribbean over and over and over again. And maybe that's the reason why I loved it so much. But again, like I said, this would be number 5 on my list if I had to put them in order. 5 by easy. 5 by easy. But it is a film.
I am surprised.
Yeah, it's a shock, right?
That's because I guess it's not something you bring up that often when we talk.
No, I don't bring it up ever, really. But like, it's one of those movies that, like, again, it's If we talk about impact, The Mummy, Spider-Man, this, and Spider-Man 2 had the most impact on me to get into video editing, to get into learning about cameras, learning about techniques and stuff. It's a movie that has green screen, but it looks good. It looks fantastic. I remember that first trailer, dude, when they revealed the guys underwater walking towards the ship.
Yep.
And it was, you know, they're obviously shaded. They're not in the moonlight yet. And then they go into the moonlight. You know, you best start believing in nightmares. You're in one. I mean, it's just, I think to me, it's just iconic, and it just holds a special place in my heart. And I struggled over because my number 5 was going to be The Dark Knight. And then I was like, you know what? If I had those two movies on at the same time, you know,
you choose
6 times out of 10, I might be picking the Curse of the Black Pearl. I love that movie.
I love that. That's great.
Yeah. And again, it's just one of those things. Again, it's a completely subjective list. I'm not putting that movie up against any of the greats. You know, some other movies in my top 10, Jaws, Jurassic Park,
I had that too.
The Dark Knight. Like, I can watch Jaws over and over again, but I just love this movie, and it has this like really special place in my heart. And then as I was thinking about it, you know, there should be one of those movies that has a special place in your heart, right? Like, again, I almost put Into the Spider-Verse in here because I think that's, from a technological standpoint, that movie is so good. And Into the Spider-Verse is probably like 5 or 6 for me. I mean, 6 or 7 for me. To me, it actually might be higher than The Dark Knight at this point.
Wow.
Every time I rewatch that movie, I'm just go, how did Sony pull this off? Which is not something you say ever.
No, I couldn't agree more. When I saw that movie, I said it was like, this is like the animated film. This is a new bar. Like, here's the bar. This is what everyone's going to be going back to, inspired by, and it's going to be the bar. Yeah, it's incredible.
I agree.
Film.
So, I think that
Curse of the Black Pearl.
Curse of the Black Pearl. It's a very surprising pick, but if it's just a subjective list, man, I just can't.
I love it. No, that's actually absolutely not a bad pick. I think it's a great movie. In fact, for me personally, I actually find myself liking Dead Man's Chest more even than the Curse of the Black Pearl. I don't know why.
Wow.
That's
the first time I've ever heard that.
For some reason love Dead Man's Chest.
I think the reason why I love this movie so much is because when I went to go see it, I was like 13 years old. I didn't expect anything. I was like, this is probably going to suck.
It's probably just the Disney first pirate movie you've ever watched. I never watched any pirate movies before that. So,
And I left the theater going, holy crap. Right. That was amazing.
That took me.
The action was cool. Dude, the sword fights were cool. Everything about it. It just holds a special place in my heart. And again, it's one of those movies that I can drop from my top 5 at any given time. Right. But at this moment right now, how I feel, Johnny Depp on a high. Just kidding. That doesn't have anything to do with it. But it makes it into the top 5.
I couldn't agree with you more with the fact that its production level for a Disney film, particularly, just blew it out of the water. No pun intended.
Right.
Like it's an incredibly great looking film. Again, a lot of practical effects and locations. Not a lot of green screen or anything like that. Like, I mean, there was some obviously, but
they built the sets and shit.
Yeah, they built the sets. It's like the ride come to life basically in the best way, which I love that ride too. It's a great, that's a great, but it looks like the ride and it feels like it when they get in there. And and obviously the ace in the hole was just Johnny Depp as Captain Jack, because him on screen at any time is just awesome.
Wonderful. Yeah.
He gave a great beating heart to that movie. And that movie just has what was I going to say? I had a word in my head about describing that film. Fuck. What was it?
Just grabs you.
I lost it. I mean, it does. It is. But it's an insanely charming film.
Yeah.
It's extremely surprisingly charming for what you wouldn't expect from a pirate movie. Like that's not what you expect. So charming. Like even the villain, like Captain Barbossa, like every character has this like lightness about them. They don't necessarily take themselves too seriously, but again, it does. Like it knows what it is and it delivers. But yet it's just so it's almost whimsical in a sense. Like it's so great. It has a great tone about it. Yeah.
For me,
great adventure.
It just gets there. And again, there was some movies that I struggled with. I was like, do I put it in here or do I wait? Do I put it in here or do I put in Jaws or do I put in Jurassic Park? Which I would put Jaws way over Jurassic Park actually. Way over Jurassic Park. Any day. Give me Jaws.
We might have to do a Spielberg list one day.
Give me Jaws any day over Jurassic Park.
Surprisingly enough, Spielberg movie didn't break my either of our top 5s, right?
No,
like a strict Spielberg movie, which I thought it would because I love pretty much everything he does.
Unsurprising though,
didn't break.
Rami did, Nolan did. So
yes. Well, I'm not surprised by Nolan. Like you gotta have a Nolan film.
Yeah, I knew one of us was gonna have The Dark Knight. I knew one of us was gonna have Inception.
Right. So which is again, it's again a Nolan film as a top list is just so fucking hard.
Right. This is this is a movie that I don't think Disney makes anymore.
No, absolutely.
This type of production value, this type of effort.
No.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of care given to this movie, which, I think gives it a little bit of extra for me. But again, I think at the end of the day, it just holds a special place in my heart. And I just can't fucking I can't shake this movie. I love the movie.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Don't blame you.
So
don't blame you. It's a great movie.
So why don't we recap? Go ahead. Give you your top 5 again.
Okay. So the top 5, Spider-Man 2, The Matrix, La La Land, The Dark Knight, and Back to the Future parts 1 through 3. And then yours.
Mine 1 through 3. What a cheat.
What a cheat.
Back to
Sorry.
The series.
At least part 1 and 2.
Okay. That's fine. That's fair. So for me, Spider-Man 2 as well. Inception, The Mummy, Pirates of the Caribbean, and I'm like forgetting my other one. Whoa.
What did you say? Wait, say it again. You said
Pirates of the Caribbean,
Spider-Man 2, The Mummy, Pirates of the Caribbean.
Inception.
And why am I why are forgetting?
Why are we? I'm blanking. I didn't write it down. I was just pulling from.
Okay, you just forgot your top
from
five
my
already.
memory. Yeah.
Maverick.
Top Gun Maverick. Yes.
Top Gun Maverick.
Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah.
Which-
what a list.
What
Yeah.
a list. Yeah. Not.
I can't.
A lot of action, a lot of adventure, and
Your genre obviously is like action adventure.
that seems to be action adventure.
You like have action
love
adventures.
Give me a good adventure film, and I will give you my money. Give me a good creature feature,
Absolutely.
and I will give you my money.
Yeah.
So I mean, Deep Blue Sea would probably be in my top 10.
Deep Blue Sea? Holy shit! Wow.
Maybe top 12.
I love
12.
that movie. I love that movie. Top 10. I mean, that's pretty high, but I love that movie.
When the end,
I love that movie.
when the end is going and it's fucking LL Cool J's song.
Yeah.
My hand is like a shark's fin.
Shark fin.
Yes, dude.
No, that movie's
amazing.
great. And that movie
Yeah.
knew exactly what it was supposed to be, and it played it. I mean, I don't know what else to say.
Which we don't get anymore. But yeah.
We should do a
Pirates
list
the
of
good
like
list.
offshoots,
So,
movies that aren't considered.
Yeah.
Great,
so we didn't
but
say
we
it.
should.
So everybody hears clearly Pirates of the Caribbean, Spider-Man 2, this is in no particular order, Top Gun Maverick, Inception, and The Mummy for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I mean, clearly we're also it's pretty obvious that we're definitely nerds.
yeah.
Yeah. This ain't no college film studies list.
Ain't no Godfather on this list. Ain't no
yeah,
Shawshank.
no Godfather. Yeah,
Ain't no
Shawshank.
Gone
Green
with
Mile,
the Wind. Frankly, my
fucking
dear,
Casablanca.
No Casablanca.
Which
I mean,
I love those movies, but they don't affect me.
They don't hold
like
that
these.
high to me. I mean, if I had to put one of them in there, it might be in Inglourious Bastards. I think that's the best Tarantino film.
Inglorious, yes,
I do.
Wow.
I love Inglourious Bastards.
You know, we should do a Tarantino one because Tarantino is difficult.
We should do a tier ranking like we did with Marvel.
We should. Yeah. I don't disagree with you with Inglourious Bastards. I think it probably is his best movie. Yeah. For some reason though, I can't get away from Django. Like for me, that's my favorite. That's still my favorite.
The
Tarantino
I will
film.
say the
love that fucking movie. God damn
fucking
it.
switch that clicks in Leo's head when he goes from just kind of being the nice guy to he realizes these two aren't here to, you know, for the reasons they said they're here.
Yeah.
Man. Oh man. I was like,
incredible.
that's good act. The fact he didn't win is horseshit. The fact
It might be his greatest. It might be his greatest moment.
will always hold.
Yeah.
Again, controversial statement. I actually don't like The Wolf of Wall Street. I think it's too much. I definitely don't put that film that high in anything. But like, I think he does give a fantastic performance, and the fact that he didn't win for that and didn't win for Django is bonkers.
I don't
He wins for
understand
The
it.
Revenant when he has like 4 lines. No,
He should have won for Django. Yeah, he definitely should have won for Django.
You just
I thought
gave
he
it to
was
him
going to win for Django
because you owed it to him. Yeah.
Yeah, but he has all these fantastic performances. I think Django. Yeah, I don't know
All
for
right.
some reason Django.
Well,
Anyways, whole nother
it.
list. We could keep going, but
Yeah.
that's our top 5 as
That's
of
our
now.
top 5.
It could definitely change, but but for the most part, that's it. So cathartic. What a cathartic.
What a great conversation. Yeah.
I mean, top lists are just fun to do, but it's so hard. It's so hard sometimes.
I mean, I think if we started to break them down, I mean, maybe we should do an objective list. That's kind of hard to do.
That one's hard.
Yeah.
Like objective list, objective for all of cinema. Ugh,
yeah. Like we'd have to do a criteria of stuff in order to like build that list.
I mean, I think what we'd have to do is like kind of get the more or less general consensus of like what is considered the top films, and then go from there. Just be like, well, what's the top from there?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we could do that.
That's it, folks.
Personal lists are more fun though.
Yeah, personal lists are more fun. Thor Love and Thunder next week. You heard his first review. We'll go full spoilers next week.
We'll go spoilers next week.
Heavy. Let's hope. I'm a little down on Marvel at the moment, so let's hope this helps me out. Don't make a face. Don't make a face. Don't make a face.
It's a face for you. That was a face for you. Not the movie.
Okay.
No,
well,
that wasn't my face for the movie.
I'm hoping maybe this redeems itself.
Because I kind of agree with you after we had that talk last week about.
Yeah, I'm down on Marvel.
About thing. I still haven't catched up on Miss Marvel. We might have to by the end of this week.
There is a lot more questions after this episode. I am like, wait, what the fuck is going on? We're breaking into. We'll have to talk about it. I think episode 5 will have a lot to wrap up along with episode 6, which is another problem with the MCU shows. You need to stop wrapping things up with one episode left. It's too much.
I know. I hate it. Too
much. The problem that's the MCU shows have a massive problem with that.
I still think Moon Knight did the best out of it.
Yeah, I agree.
There still could be a little less like rush to the end in a sense. Yeah.
Stop easy. You need to figure that out. Anyway, that's all we got for this week. We won't jump onto that. Maybe we'll talk Miss Marvel next week, but mostly just Thor. And have a great week, everybody.
Have a great week, everybody. Bye.